Okay, we are live, and Eric literally just joined. So, welcome to the live stream, everyone. Today is the DCTV show episode 51. Eric is here with me. We're going to be discussing quite a few topics I have in my notes. I'm sure you've watched Supergirl, Eric, right?
Yeah, I watched everything this week.
We have that, and Eric can briefly talk about Stargirl. And I know. I say this every week. I'm going to catch up, but I haven't got up to the latest episode yet. So I'm sorry for everyone who's been looking forward to that. But busy times. But yeah. So, what did you think of Supergirl this week, Eric? We'll get into that in just a moment. Let me first just introduce, everything as usual. So remember, guys, you can send in any topics, questions, or ideas you have in the chat. But the best way to send them in to get them answered by me and Eric is to send them in via super chats. We'll pop them up on the screen like I did to Nathan's comment right here. Welcome to the stream, Nathan. And you'll be featured, and your support towards the channel is greatly appreciated. But for now, let's go into Supergirl, and then we have a couple of other topics I want to touch on, like the Melissa interview. There's been a couple going around. DC Fandoms next week, so I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. But first off, we're going to go into Supergirl. So, Eric, what's your overall thoughts on this week's episode?
Like the last couple episodes, I haven't cared for some of the stuff in them. This week's episode, I really just didn't work for me. I don't know what's going on right now with the show in terms of like how they're structuring episodes and things like that, because the last couple episodes we've had, or probably the last 4 episodes we've had, have had some sort of a message to them, or like a mission statement to what the episode is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then in this episode, we didn't really have like a message.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll like it better because there's no like underlying message. It's just an episode of Supergirl doing Supergirl stuff. But I found myself a little bit annoyed, particularly at the stuff with William and Andrea. I think that kind of annoyed me.
Pushing them pretty hard.
Yeah. I love Alex and Kelly. Even if I don't love the stuff they're doing, I think the two of them are both really trying hard this season.
Yeah.
And of course, Nia. I can't ever talk enough about how much I love Nia as a character. Just Nicole is great in that role. And I'm really sad that she's not going to be going on after this. I don't think. Melissa feels to me like she's there for the fans. That's what it feels like. And unless it's just the direction she's getting in the episodes, it's almost like she's just running through the script and trying to get the episodes done. And I don't like that, because I like Melissa and she's really grown for me over the years. I didn't like her a lot in season 1. I had a lot of issues with her, but once we moved over to the CW, I really started enjoying her on the show. And this season it's a different vibe. That's the best way to put it. It's a different vibe. So I didn't care for this episode as much as I would have liked to, because I do feel like it was a departure away from the messaging that it had. But there were so many great character moments between like characters, and like the Lena stuff with Nia, I thought was really interesting. The Kelly and Alex stuff I thought was very interesting. I think the weakest story this week was the William and Andrea story, and I think that
I agree.
That Kara's story wasn't as important either. So I wanted more. I don't think I can look at this one episode and be like, I hate this episode, because I mean, I did have a problem with it, but I think it's just more of an issue with the vibe of the whole season. Like, I need to sort of align my energy with the energy of the show, because it's a little bit off for me right now. But I will say this: the one thing I did like about Kara's story, and the one thing I hope they really dive into next week and maybe for the rest of the season, is her connection with Nixley. Like that telepathy connection or whatever. I think that's really interesting, and I would love to see more of that. And I was kind of sad this week that it only happened a couple of times. I wanted to see it like more of that, because I thought out of everything we're doing with the totems, that to me is the most interesting part of the story.
Yeah. No, you know what? Now you talk about all these specific things, I do realize that maybe it's like, if you see Melissa or some of the other people, it seems like maybe they know that the show's drawing to a conclusion. Maybe they want to move on, blah, blah, blah. So I see what you're getting at there. Overall, for me, I enjoyed this episode. You know what? I thought okay, so normally I go into an episode, I'm ready to write my notes and everything about what I'm going to talk about, my review and stuff. This episode I just watched without my notes or anything, and I kind of just enjoyed it. It felt like a kind of normal Supergirl episode. Didn't have to think that much, no message or anything. It was kind of like you sit down and you're like, oh sure, let's put on Supergirl, whatever. So yeah, I kind of liked it for that, and I know it's different from the messaging that they've been doing recently, and maybe that's a bit weird, like in terms of the season, as a whole. But as an episode, I enjoyed it. I wanted to point out, I really, really liked the connection, like you said, between Kara and Nixley. It's very much so, and I referenced this last week, very much so like Harry Potter and Voldemort. And
I didn't think about that, but you're right.
Yeah, and their connection, with the Horcruxes and everything, they're connected. And, in Harry Potter, Harry can feel when Voldemort's angry, it literally the same. And so I really loved that first scene at game night, and Melissa just suddenly broke out into like delirious laughter.
Yeah,
and
I was freaking out at that because that was very creepy. I was like, what is going on here?
It was creepy, and I was like, what the hell is happening? And when I realized, I was like, oh, this is good. And so I agree with you. I want to see more of that, because I think that's the most interesting thing about Nixley. Like, I think Nixley isn't that interesting as a character, as a villain. We said this before.
The problem is I don't see her as a villain. That's my issue. I understand her motivations. I know why she's doing it. And although people are getting hurt as bystanders, she's been wronged. She wants to get back at the people that wronged her. And maybe revenge doesn't come across as being like noble, but I don't see her as just being outright evil. Like, that just doesn't work for me.
No, and that's why I liked her kind of twist with the totem this episode, how she had so much compassion. She couldn't hurt anyone. And I was like, okay, this is interesting for me. I thought like this shows a different aspect of her, where maybe deep down she has some compassion and she doesn't want to kill people. Obviously she's been boosted, but she needs some compassion in the first place, right? But yeah, she isn't like strictly a villain in my mind too. And I think she is a bit over the top sometimes. Like, the laughter when it cut to her was like, okay, maybe it's like maybe a bit too far, but it duplicated Melissa's reaction.
You know what? Good. I will say that I loved the game night at the beginning because it calls back to like the classic Supergirl stuff. So when they were all together, I was like, oh, this is cool. We hadn't seen them like chilling and like just playing board games or anything in a long time. So I thought that was really nice. And typically on the shows, like I don't like that kind of stuff, but Supergirl, it's like it's so ingrained in what Supergirl is, like that sense of family and the sense of the togetherness that they have. So seeing them together playing board games, I don't know, it felt good to me. It was a good way to start the episode.
No, I completely agree, and I wrote that down in my notes. I said it's very nostalgic. It's nice that with all the craziness that is happening in National City, that they sit down and they have game night like they usually do. It makes sense in the world of Supergirl at the time, with this, because you can't, like in real life, you can't be doing something.
Police officers don't police 24 hours a day. So they can't do that. And plus they were like, Brainiac is scanning the city. So there was nothing else that could be done at that point. So it was a perfect chance for them to sit down and really kind of take a break from everything that's going on. So
no, it was very nice. And okay, so you mentioned Alex and Kelly briefly. So let's talk a bit about them.
Okay.
So did I read this right, or was the ending of the episode teasing that they are going to adopt Esme, right?
No, absolutely 100%. That's what they're going to do.
100%, yeah. Yeah,
There's no other way that goes. So Esme is going to be their adopted child. I mean, that's pretty much what it's going to be. I can't believe I remember her name because I forget people's names all the time, but I remembered her name because it was such a big moment when the family was using her to protect them from like the alien guy that was affected by Nixley. And so I just remember Esme. And so that was what they called her name. But I think that's going to, because I think what we're going to get with Kelly and Alex that's pretty much guaranteed is they're going to get a happy ending for the show. They're going to get a happy, like, they're going to be a family and they're going to be fine. That's what we're going to see. And Alex is going to continue to be a superhero. Kelly's going to continue to be a superhero. Even if we don't follow them, like, on the show, that's what their character story is going to be.
Yeah.
So.
And it's definitely been teased for a while. For seasons. Like, Alex, the whole reason why she's not with Maggie is because Alex wanted a kid. Right. And now, finally, they found a kid and they've set it up well with Kelly specifically, and now with Alex, who has been introduced to Esme.
Do you think they made Kelly a social worker just to set up this kid storyline?
I'm pretty sure. Sure that gives them the connection to that.
That's exactly what I thought. It made sense. Like, it was actually, so we always talk about with the Flash how they have trouble figuring out what to do with characters. I think that Kelly's job this season and the direction of the story they wanted to give Kelly and the direction of the story they wanted to give Kelly and Alex, this was like a perfect decision to make her a social worker. It just makes the most sense. So
no, it makes complete sense. And I mean, if the other kid, what's his name? Joey. If Joey didn't have his older brother, I think
Orlando. I always remember Orlando because that's a city in Florida. So
yeah, Orlando. If Orlando wasn't there, I think they would have adopted him. But because he has the sort of father figure that is Orlando, they're not going to do that, and that's why they've got Esme at the same time. So sort of Orlando is going to be a friend to Kelly, kind of.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
Like, so that whole like 3-episode story arc with Orlando and Joey and showing how much Kelly cared about them, I don't want to give them credit for doing something like genius, but it is kind of genius. Like, regardless of my complaints about that storyline and the individual bits and pieces of it, showing how much Kelly cared about Joey makes this adoption make more sense.
Yeah.
Because if they would have just had this Esme child, like if this story would have just been this story and we would have never had any of that from Kelly before, I would have been like, why are they really? They're going to adopt why would she do that? But we got to see her working a case with another child that they didn't adopt, but she still cared a lot about.
Yeah.
So this makes it make more sense, like in the sense of like why they're adopting Esme. So I think it's like, again, you know, I have to give credit where it's due. I think if they intended for that to be the foreshadowing for what we have now, they did a great job of doing that. So
yeah. No, I agree. And I think, you know, we give credit where credit's due. And I think definitely in this case, it's definitely due. So reminder for all of you who have just joined the stream or joined recently, you can send in your questions if you have any burning ideas to do with Supergirl or not to do with Supergirl. Maybe it's to do with DC
Stargirl, or I can answer Stargirl questions.
Yeah, exactly. Eric is here. He's your Stargirl guy. Please be sure to send them in via Super Chats if you want to have them featured on the stream. Okay, let's move into the next bit. So Lena has quite a big part. Well, actually, probably one of the biggest parts to play in this episode. And in the last couple of episodes and moving forward, like when you think of it, she is the key to stop Nixley, right? And then Lex comes in, so she's going to be heavily involved, obviously. Right. So she's arguably like maybe bigger than Supergirl right now.
Yeah.
Right?
I would agree, yeah.
And so Lena, and in this episode, she has her magic. She tries to use it. She actually uses spells, but they kind of backfire. And so she loses trust inside of herself to do this because, first off, she was already skeptical because she doesn't believe in magic. She's a person of science, you know. They've heavily emphasized that. So with her accepting it, obviously the failures don't look good in her mind. And so she's like, no, I'm not going to do it. But she comes around to it. And I thought it was a nice arc in this episode. What do you think of it?
So my only issue with Lena right now is how quickly they're going to have to move through the story with her, because her getting from being this scientist to a witch, I feel like in a perfect world, we would have a whole season of her learning how to become that character, like how to use her powers, all of that. But this is the final season. They have to rush through it. It's an imperfect scenario. But in order to make her relevant to what's happening, they have to give her the storyline. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I just think that the idea that the magic is she said it's like a feeling, it's not really a science, it's a feeling or whatever. And it's so completely opposite of what she's used to doing, like following, recipes or, cultures and doing stuff in the lab. It's completely opposite of that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was nice to see Nia work with her, but Nia's powers and Lena's magic it's not the same thing. So I thought that was also them just tossing something in there. It's a very rushed situation, but I will say I like the idea of Lena becoming a bigger part of the show before it ends, because if she were just Lena Luthor, a scientist with this magic storyline, she would be completely subtracted from it because there's nothing she can do. So it makes sense that that's what they're doing with her. Plus, I think this is also going to lead into an ending for her character that makes us feel good about saying goodbye to Lena. Because I think ultimately a lot of these stories that we're getting are leading up to us as fans being able to let go of them at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But you're right, as far as her being important, we're fighting against Nixley, and Lena's obviously going to be a very powerful witch. I'm already saying she's going to be like a chosen one type character. So I'm assuming that she's going to have to face down Nixley. And we see some of the set photos with her getting hurt. So clearly she's in the front lines with Supergirl and the rest of the team. So, but again, I love her performance. Character moments, I never have a problem with character moments on Supergirl. Like, even if I don't like the episode, I usually have something good to say about the characters, because the actors typically on Supergirl are pushing really hard to give a class act performance.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. Lena, people have said in the past, oh, I don't like Lena because I like Mon-El, blah, blah, blah. But I've always liked Lena, and I think this season, I think this season, especially these last couple of episodes, I've been properly into her story. So I'm liking where they're going. I hope they don't rush it in the conclusion, but we'll wait and see.
I was going to say quickly about the Lena Mon-El thing. I didn't even realize there was this online battle between Lena and Mon-El fans. Apparently there is. I didn't know.
It's been for years, Eric.
I know. Well, Paigey mentioned it to me, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Have you never seen it?" I'm like, "I've never seen that."
It's like
I've never seen
and
it.
Caitlyn fans,
right? And I've seen that, but I've never seen Lena and Mon-El. I mean, it makes sense why, but I've just never seen it. So,
oh my god, Eric. Anyway. They have specific names for Mon-El. Let's just say that.
Oh gosh.
I think they call him Manhell.
Oh god.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so Cal Roswell sends in a super chat. Thank you very much, Cal, for the 99 cents. Cal was actually a new member, so thank you so much, Cal. And also just a reminder, guys, if you want to become a member, you can click the join button. You have to be on the computer. Some people were asking about that because YouTube doesn't have it on their phones.
Yeah, it's weird. Somebody else said that. They said on their phone they couldn't join for my thing as well. So it's a little strange.
It's weird. But we're doing our members call sometime. Well, it's supposed to be tomorrow, so hopefully it will be tomorrow. So if any of you guys want to join in, now it's time to become a member. And yeah, so thank you so much for the super chat, Cal. Much appreciated. Okay, so let's continue to talk about Supergirl, and we'll go on. We've got the big thing I wanted to talk about. I forgot to put it in my notes, but I just added it about Reverse Flash. So I know you guys are going to want to tune in for that. So stick around until our Supergirl bit is done. But the Dream Totem is next up. This was teased.
This is going to be exciting. Yeah, I'm excited for this because this is going to be a very Nia-centric episode. So
yeah, so it seems like Nia says at the end of the episode, she thinks she can do something about it. So obviously next episode is going to be heavy in the Nia stuff. And that's great. Like Eric said, and like I've said many times, I think Nia is easily one of the best characters on the show right now. And just that one scene this episode with her, switching her left from right. I was laughing.
It was funny because I was like, I thought for sure that maybe she was like had just been weakened or something because she kind of stumbled. And I'm like, oh, the magic must have weakened or whatever. She's like, no, I can't tell my left from right. I'm like, that's
She broke my
pretty
brain.
silly. It's like like crazy to me that would happen.
Like, I couldn't imagine that. Like, what?
It's a weird, but see, that's the thing is it's magic. Like that's magic does weird stuff. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, but it's magic. Magic doesn't make sense most of the time. So
yeah, guys, Gary's in jail, confirmed. Just saying.
Oh wow,
in the Phantom Zone. Okay, yeah. So Dream Totem is next, and also we know next episode. Spoiler alert! But Nixley is going to be going after William. And William is obviously big in this episode. He's embedded with the Super Friends in the tower. And could the confrontation next episode between him and Nixley be because of his big article?
Maybe. You know what? I'm wondering if we're going to see Nia's mother again in the Dream episode.
Maybe it could be. But I'm just wondering, would Nixley care about an article on her? I know it's a big deal, but
based on the writing this season, I think anything is fair game. I think she may, because Nixley. So the only real criticism I have for Nixley in this season in terms of like her character is they haven't been very clear about what she's mad about. Like every couple episodes it ends up being something else. At the very least now we know that it's mainly getting revenge for what happened to her with her family.
Yeah,
mainly. So would she be mad about an article? I mean, I could see her talking to William and going, you made me look bad to the public and I don't want to look bad. I'm not a bad person or something like that. Like I could see her taking that direction with it. So,
yeah. And it seems, and actually, wait, I want to ask you, what did you think of William in this episode and him being in the tower and the way that they sort of interacted with the rest of the team?
I didn't really have a problem with him there. Like his interactions with the team made sense to me. My issue was him just being there in general. Like, he's there because they extended the option for him to come in and shadow them, or at least Kara did. And I think with everything that's going on, they could have said, it's too dangerous for you to be here right now or whatever. But they didn't. They continued to keep him around. And then we had the sitcom moment where Kara and Lena are kind of fighting and Nia has to take him off, like away from them. Yeah. And that was kind of played up as a joke. And I'm like, he's not that stupid. I mean, I'm not a big William fan, but he's not stupid. Like he totally knew what was going on and they treated it like it was a sitcom. Like there was a little bit of uneven tone in his storyline at the Watchtower. But I didn't have a problem with him and how he acted. He acted like I expected him to act. Like he didn't do anything that I was like, William would never do that, or that doesn't make any sense. I had a bigger issue with Andrea and how she's been represented this season. So
give me your thoughts on Andrea quick.
I mean, what a complete waste of a character. She's been turned into like a one-dimensional. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any diehard Andrea fans out there that are like, I love her, I want to see more of her. But at the very least, the other seasons, even when she was like a double agent or whatever, there was depth to her character. She had, left turns, right turns. You never really knew what you were getting from her. There was a bit of mystery to her, and she was an interesting character. This season, she's literally a screaming and yelling editor-in-chief of the company.
She has no other role in the whole show apart from being like, get me that clickbait news. Ignore your sources, like don't give a shit about them, like expose them completely just for the clicks.
Right. And it reminds me of J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man or Perry from Superman, where they're just characters that scream and yell to get them stories, and I don't see her as that kind of a character.
Yeah. It's weird because I felt like you said, she had something else going on with Leviathan and with her sort of she has powers. Like
she's got very good powers. Like she's a powerful character.
And what does she use them for? Nothing. Like she used it once this season to get a file on the Super Friends, and she never did anything with that. So there's basically nothing going on with her, and she's very one note.
If she's got powers, why does she need William to infiltrate the Watchtower?
Yeah.
She could do the research herself, and once she finds it, she can just use her powers to get in there. So the other thing is that with where was I going with this? Oh, Andrea, that she's like, even Cat Grant wasn't like this. Like Cat Grant was a very pushy boss, but she was never one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a complete downgrade for the character. And the other thing is that do you think she's going to be like this for the rest of the season? Do you think they're going to give her anything? Because we're very close to the end of the season for Supergirl. So, or the series, I should say.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to give her anything else.
You think she's going to go down as being just an angry boss? Yeah, basically. And the other thing, why are you hacking people's computers that work for you? You own those computers. They're part of your company.
Yeah.
You have access to, like, I don't know any job where you get a computer and that computer has the boss can't get into it. Like I've never done a job like that before. So if she wanted to look up his research, she should have been able to. Anything that he didn't want on the system, that's what you have a personal phone for. You have a computer for that. You put all that there. You wouldn't put it on your work computer at the job. It's a bad, like, again, William, not an issue with his character. Everything he did seemed like it was fine to me. Andrea was annoying, and they're writing her in a very annoying way.
Yeah, I completely agree. Okay, let's move on from this. And I do have to end the stream in about just under 20 minutes or so because I have to shoot off, have a film, which is very exciting. It's at the London Film Festival.
That's a flex.
Anyway, it's a big premiere. Very excited. Yeah, flex. So if you guys have any final super chat questions or any final questions, now is the time to send them in. You have under 20 minutes to get all of them in. And we're going to be talking about Reverse Flash Barry right now. Yeah. So, all right, Eric. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. I'm pretty sure like the entire internet.
Well, it's been up for a week now. People should have seen it by now.
So we're going to talk about it. Full spoilers. Sorry, guys. So what do you think of it? Do you have any theories? I have 2 theories I have noted down that I will briefly discuss, but I want to hear from you first, Eric. And you guys in the chat, let us know what the hell do you think is going on.
Tell me if my theories are your theories, because the one that I have is that it is a younger Eobard.
Yeah.
That has taken over Barry's body from another timeline or something.
That was one, but that's not one I noted. Mine's slightly different. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
So, one theory is this is younger Eobard, like you said, but he's not in Barry's body. He's actually like himself, and this was at the time when he was obsessed with the Flash initially. And so he had, using the similar technology, he had like some sort of surgery or did what was it from to become Harrison Wells, basically in order to mirror Barry. And you know that there is a flashback to 2014 from the set. There was a newspaper or something. So it was actually at the time when Barry was still in the coma. So what happens if he goes back there, gets some DNA from a comatose Barry, and then, reconstructs his face and his body to look like him. So that's one of my theories. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good one too. My other theory is that for some reason, Barry has to become the Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Like our Barry. Like he has to connect to the negative Speed Force. And that causes his suit to change into the Reverse Flash suit. Because it's a blending of the 2 suits. It's a combination of like the yellow and the modern Flash suit or whatever. That he's not evil or at all. It's just literally our Barry with Reverse Flash powers for some reason. Or it's a similar story to that is Despero somehow changes our Barry into the Reverse Flash. Like it's just our Barry, but with Reverse Flash powers. Or what if it's this weird thing where Barry has to merge with the Reverse Flash? because they need more speed because he has on that tachyon device. So what if it's like a merger of the two characters together?
That sounds interesting.
It's probably more interesting than what we're actually going to get.
Yeah.
But the only reason I think our first theories are probably the accurate ones is because you see reverse Barry talking to Damien Dark, and they're having a conversation while he has the tachyon device on. So I have a feeling that that's more likely what it is because it seems like they're going to be working together. Reverse Flash and Damien Dark.
Yeah, and it's unlikely that Barry would work with Damien Dark, you know.
Right.
So that kind of leans into the idea of, oh, this is a version of Eobard Thawne who just has the appearance of Barry Allen. And in regards to the costume being different, could this be like the original costume? We're saying that it's like an earlier version of Reverse Flash. What happens if this was his first costume that's more similar to the Flash suit?
Because we know Ryan Choi is also here in this, and he's the one that designs the suit that fits in the ring, which is the one that Reverse Flash has, because his suit automatically did it from the beginning. We knew that it could work. So this could be the prototype suit that leads into the Reverse Flash suit that we see in season 1.
Yeah, I like that theory, linking it to Ryan, because Ryan Choi also is dressed up in the Atom suit. Obviously, very comic book accurate. It looks very different.
Very comic book accurate. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. So it seems like, I don't know why they're so insistent on not calling it a crossover, but it's definitely big, right? And also, I think Eric Wallace, in an interview with TV Line, he actually talked about Mia Smoke coming back, so Catherine McNamara, and he referenced the fact that they are speedsters in the show. So it seems like they're going to 2040.
And Nora and Bart are going to be there.
And maybe there could be that link with Nora.
It would make sense if Nora and Bart knew Mia, because they all come from the same era.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool. But the other thing is, I think the reason why they don't want to call it a crossover, and I thought about this, is most of the shows that are showing up on this event are shows that are no longer on the air.
Yeah.
Like the characters from the shows, with the exception of Batwoman. So, you know, they're not calling it a crossover because of that reason, because there is one crossover character from a current show, which is Batwoman. But for me, whether the shows are on or not, I consider this to be a crossover.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 episodes. This is going to be huge. This is a very big deal. So I'm super excited for it. And, you know, I feel like even though we only saw him in that suit for like a couple of photos on outside or whatever, there's no way they made that suit for just that one shot, because they would have just changed the color in post. They would have just made it yellow in CGI, but they made a full-fledged,
completely new.
Yes.
Like, it's not
and the boots are red, which means, are we going to get the gold boots with the red suit?
The inverse of the gold boots. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to it all. And, you know, there is so many theories that can be said about this, because, I mean, we really don't know what's going on. Many people who were on the set couldn't hear what was happening, so we don't have any insight apart from what we can actually see. And what we see is like, is kind of mind-blowing to Flash fans, you know.
Did you hear about what happened with one of the
they got
photographers? Yeah. I'm guessing that they're getting tired of them spoiling stuff on set.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Like, I was a bit scared. I was like, oh shit, like they're gonna.
So as someone who works on a set yourself, is it actually against like anything legal for them to be there off the filming spot and filming from like a long way away? Like, because if you have a telephoto lens, you can be, you know, several yards away and still get shots or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like they can't legally do anything, so they're trying to scare them into not doing it.
Exactly. No, that's exactly what it is. Like, say you're filming out in public, it's public property. It's not your property, you know, they don't own it. Yeah, it would be completely illegal if someone jumped into their production house and, like, you know, was hiding on the roof or something, taking photos. course. That would be illegal because that's their private property. But when they're out in public, yeah, that's just the security guards being like, can you please not do it? But in this case, they're being like very aggressive to try and scare them, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's the same everywhere. Like on these big films and TV shows. Like I was at the Flash set in London, and there were security guards at every road surrounding, and they're like, "No photos, please." I mean, they can't stop you, but they're like,
You would actually have to block off such a far distance from where you're filming to prevent that. Like you'd have to film in a location where you could block streets getting into where you're at.
Yeah.
Which is why it's always so risky to do that. So
I know. And it's always a problem with these big films. But okay, let's move on to the last couple of topics before we end this. And if you guys have any final questions, please be sure to send them in. So Melissa did an interview with Jimmy Kimmel. She also did a New York Comic Con panel. Don't know if you've seen it. I started watching it today. I think I
watched all of the Jimmy Kimmel interview and a little bit of the panel. But
yeah. So the panel was with Thomas Lennon, who plays Mixie on the show. Very interesting so far. Haven't finished it.
What a weird choice to have on the panel.
Yeah, it's funny. I guess it's just who was available. But it's nice to see Melissa doing interviews about Supergirl still post its ending. And it's clear that she's happy being away and, you know, being done with Supergirl. I mean, that was made pretty clear in the Jimmy Kimmel thing. So what did you take away from the interviews? Do you think she's done for good or just for now?
So I didn't watch, full disclosure, I haven't watched the whole Comic-Con panel thing.
Yeah.
So I have to finish watching that. But the Jimmy Kimmel interview, from what I could tell, first of all, it's great to see her really happy. She seems to be really, really happy. I love her haircut, by the way. I wish they would have done that with Supergirl.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, it looked really good. It seems to me for the time being, she's done. Like, she has no intention of going back, so I don't expect to see her, you know, filming crossovers or showing up for anything.
Yeah.
She made it very clear that she was happy not to be putting on the suit and getting harnessed up to fly and everything. And if Supergirl is going to be on the show, she's going to be flying. So, I mean, it sounds to me like she's happy to be away from it. And that might be why it feels like she's dialing in her performances a little bit, because I think she was very focused on writing with her sister, which I think is great. She's got this production thing with Warner Brothers that she's going to be doing moving forward, which means she'll have a lot of different projects coming out, whether she's starring in them or not. She's given 6 years to Supergirl. I mean, I think she's ready to move on. Now, that doesn't mean that she'll never come back, because I don't want to say, you know, never say never. She could totally come back at some point, but I would say don't get your hopes up, and just, if it happens, be happy about it, you know, even if she's only there for one scene. But yeah, she seems like she's going to be very busy. Plus, being a new mom, it's very clear she wants to spend time with her kid. And, you know, so I would say it's going to be at least a couple of years or more before we ever see her come back. But, you know, it's fine. She's given a lot of time to the show. And even on Jimmy Kimmel, he said his daughter looks up to her for being Supergirl. And she dressed up as Supergirl for Halloween and whatnot. So that was kind of sweet. And it just goes to show that these characters on these shows, no matter how much we criticize them, or how much we talk about, like, we love this, we love that, or whatever, at the end of the day, they inspire people, they inspire kids. And I think that's something she should be very proud of. So, and I'm pretty sure she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll see her again, just not right away.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it seems like she loved her time. She loved working with the cast and the crew and everyone. But, you know, it's natural. Like, you want to move on. She's been doing this for 6 years. It's like working at a normal job. Say you're working, I don't know, as a DJ. Maybe you want to go to a different club at one point, you know? So,
yeah. Well, the other thing I have to say is that it's different with movies as well, because actors that do TV shows, they're there for so long during the year that when they get their time off, they don't have time typically to go to do a movie or do a miniseries or anything like that. So unless you're not the main actor, like if you're a supporting character, you might have time to do that. But if you're the main actor, you don't have time. So when you commit to a TV show, it's different from committing to a franchise. Like if you're a Marvel actor and you're, say for example, you're Iron Man, you're Robert Downey Jr., you're going to be filming for 3-4 months of a year, and then you might not film again for another 9 months. So you have all that time to do stuff in or do nothing at all, you know? So it's completely different from TV acting. TV acting is hard. It's a hard job, especially when you're on a series that gets like 23 episodes. That's tough. Like, I'm not talking about the streaming shows. Streaming shows, 10 episodes, you're there for a couple months. You have time to do other things. Like stuff on CW, they film for so long.
Yeah, they're there pretty much all year. So it's a lot. And, well, we're going to see a lot of the actors from the Arrowverse at DC Fandom next week. We do have to wrap this up, but yeah,
I'm excited for Fandom.
Me too. And they released a new trailer today, hyping it up. People were like, oh, is there new Flash footage? But apparently it's old footage in the trailer. But we have, there was a snippet of Grant. There was a snippet of Ezra from the Flash film and Sasha, who plays Supergirl in the film. Also Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz from the Batman film. The Rock. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be so much. Hopefully we get some sort of announcement in regards to the future of the Arrowverse as well. Maybe there's going to be like a Naomi teaser.
That's right. She should have a teaser by now.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the Supergirl panel specifically because it's going to be like the last panel they're probably going to do together. And then you're going to get trailers from The Flash. Apparently Superman and Lois season 2 because they are filming, although it's not coming out for a while. Batwoman.
I actually think Superman and Lois season 2 are doing the right thing because they know how the filming is going to go now.
Yeah.
So they're not going to, we won't see those breaks like we saw in season 1.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. But yeah, so get excited for next weekend. And remember, guys, if you want to become a member, now is the time because we're going to do our members call. Going to organize the time, but it should be some point tomorrow. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. And please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the stream. And go check out Eric's channel, which will be in the link in the description below, to watch his latest videos. Have you done your Supergirl review yet?
It's coming out today.
It's coming out today.
It's scheduled for like I didn't want to release it before we streamed because I'd edited it, but I was like, when you messaged me and you're like, hey, are you free to stream or whatever? I was like, I'll wait and put it up afterwards. So it'll be out today though. So
okay, awesome. So go check out Eric's video when it goes up, and also I'm gonna have another video which is posting as well, maybe some point tonight, and then I'll release this a bit later. But yeah, for now, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in, everyone on the live chat. And we'll catch you guys next week.